Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of The TheFadShow. So on today's episode, I'm going to do my favorite thing, which is rework. If you recall, a few episodes ago, I removed the front differential from my Land Cruiser and I replaced all the seals on it, and I even proclaimed that they are not leaking. Well, I was wrong. They did not leak when it was parked stationary in my garage, but as soon as I started driving the truck some more, we got some cold weather here in North Texas, so I was driving the Land Cruiser a bunch, and I realized that both sides were leaking. So I was kind of frustrated, and off camera, I already did the driver's side. Today I'm going to do the passenger side. So last time I put in non-Toyota seals, although I don't think that was the issue. I think the issue was that I pressed the seals in too far. I guess that's another lesson. You should never trust someone from the internet, because I guess I led everyone astray. So I'm going to replace the seals again. I'm going to push them significantly less further into the differential housing, hoping that that will solve the leakage. It appears that it has for the other side. I replaced the other side. I drove it a little bit. Doesn't appear to be leaking. Also, one thing I realized during the cold weather, if you've been following this whole series, I've been chasing this clunk, front end clunk on my Land Cruiser when I'm changing directions of the drivetrain. After I replaced the CV axles and the hub axle flanges, it got amazingly better, like probably 90% better than it was before. But one thing I noticed during this cold weather spell we had is whenever the truck was outside and the gear oil was super cold in the front differential, there was like no clunk at all. It was even better. So I'm going to put in 75 140. Before I had 75 90 in there. Toyota actually recommends this weight. I guess it would probably be better for a warmer climate. I guess Texas is a warmer climate, but it has the 75 winter rating, so I'm not really worried about running it in the winter. Myself, it is gonna hurt fuel economy, but it's already terrible on this car, so whatever. I think this is, hopefully, my theory is that this is gonna help the front end clunk some more. So I'm gonna give that a go. Since I'm gonna be changing the seal anyways, and I'm gonna lose some gear oil, I'm just gonna go ahead and drain it and fill it while I'm doing this. With that, let's get to it. I'm probably not gonna do much of a DIY for this, since I'm kind of just doing the same thing I did before. Although not exactly. I did realize the way I showed when I replaced the CV axles, that works, and it's kind of a quick way to do it. I wouldn't say that it's really easier. It's actually kind of more of a struggle. When I replaced the seal the last time on the other side, I just took the whole steering knuckle off. So that's what I'm gonna do for this side too. I found it easier. It's like more bolts, more steps, but gives you more room to access the seal, and it's easier to just get the CV in and out, in my opinion. With that, I know I'm rambling on. Let's get to it. I guess I've showed this a few times now, but there's a bunch of 12 millimeters that hold the brake line on, and then there's going to be a 10 millimeter for the wheel speed sensor that has to come off. I was seeing if both sides have them. Yeah, it has one somewhere over here. It's crazy how like one day and like a little bit of salt will rust your car. We never like salt the roads here in Texas, and then like one day and things have surface corrosion on them. One's a 10 and one's a 12. Just be careful with the wheel speed, Spencer. They are a little bit delicate. Here you can see the look of great confusion while trying to figure out which way I need to turn the caliper mounting bolt, motioning it in thin air, then realizing once again on this truck that I am not strong enough and reaching for DOS pipe. Once retrieving the pipe, forgetting which way I had just figured out I needed to turn the bolt again, and then finally, hopefully, possibly, maybe breaking it free. Once the caliper is removed, I hang it on the control arm just so there's no pressure on the brake lines. Here I am removing the nut on the lower ball joint. Eventually I end up switching to the impact in order to get it off. I also show myself trying to separate the ball joint, but now watching this video, I realized it was separated as soon as I immediately took the nut off, and all my post efforts were completely unnecessary. But anyways, here I am showing how you can try and remove the ball joint. Just beating on the side of the knuckle. Heat is also your friend here, just being careful not to damage the boot up above. I am sorry for the position of my drop light during the performance of this. My degree is in engineering, not in filmmaking. As always in life, when in doubt, get a bigger hammer. Here I am removing the steering arm, which is two 19mm bolts. I would love to shake the hand of the Toyota engineer that designed this way, so you do not have to remove the steering rack tie rod ball joint. It is such a lifesaver. And in fact, if I have ever elected to world leadership, my first order of business will be having the Toyota suspension engineers meet with the BMW suspension engineers in an effort of great diplomacy. Removing the steering knuckle is probably somewhere where you're going to need an extra set of hands. Obviously, it's pretty heavy, so when the top ball joint comes out, it's, yeah, pretty alarming. If you could push the CV back, if possible. Oh, that's what I'm caught. I was caught on the brake line. Ugh. Here I am removing the CV axle. I know I showed this on the previous video, but the OEM Toyota axles that have the flange for you to be able to hammer on are a lifesaver. That being said, the snap rings do seem to be a little bit stronger in the OEM axle than in some of the aftermarket ones. So now with the CV axle out, you can see how much more room you have to access it. I'm probably not going to show removing the seal since there's not a lot of room to film here. My video with the differential removed will probably be easier, but I'm going to do the same method. Just be careful and pry it out. This one actually doesn't look like it's in too far, so I guess we'll see. So here's the new seal in. Maybe it looks like it's sticking out further than the one was before. That was my goal. Yeah. I installed it with Moly Lube this time instead of the RTV like I used last time, which is per the Toyota repair manual. I used my calipers and I made sure the seal's even and not crooked. It's all plus or minus 1 millimeter, which I don't really know how to get more precise than that. So, yeah. I guess I'm gonna do the rest, maybe on a time lapse, reverse of installation, so I can watch my hockey game.
Morons! I told you I want to watch the hockey game. Now cut the golf sissy crap and finish up in there.
You hit a ball past my ball, and we'll go straight back to work so you can watch your precious hockey game.
Here's a semi-time lapse of putting everything back together. Honestly, the hardest part of this job is just looking up the torque spec for everything in the repair manual, or at least that was the most time-intensive part for it. That being said, this was my second side that I was doing, so I was pretty comfortable with everything that needed to be done, but still definitely something that is DIY-able at home. So that's a wrap on this episode, guys. I've been driving the truck for about 100 miles now. I'm not going to say that the axle seals are not leaking because that's what I said last time and they started leaking. I guess last time I didn't actually drive the truck before, but anyways, I digress. I've driven it for about 100 miles. I can't see any leakage. I don't see any spots on the ground. I don't see it pooling up on the bottom of the differential and the axle tube or whatever where it was before. So pretty happy with that. I guess I learned something. Never trust your instinct and do a little research before you get into a job because, yeah, I definitely led you guys astray in that first video. Definitely do not want to push those axle seals in too far. They need to kind of almost be protruding out to meet up to the CV to prevent leakage. And then also the other video, I guess I kind of led you guys astray. I'm not gonna say I led you astray, but the first method I showed of replacing the CV axles takes less time, has less steps, but in my opinion is more difficult than doing it the way I did in this episode. Like, without removing the entire steering knuckle and hub, I felt like I was fighting it the entire time, where this way I kind of felt like everything went smoothly, even though it took more time and required more steps. I don't know, do it either way you want to, both work. For me going forward, if I ever have to replace the CV or do one of these axle seals again, I'm definitely going to do the method that I did this episode. For me, I just thought it was easier and smoother and everything just kind of worked out better. So anyways, I hope you guys liked this episode, and as always, please like and subscribe if you did, and stay tuned for next time. Thank you. Bye.